everyone, it's Gina from orchidandopal.com and welcome back to part 2 of the Tuscan Dreams pendant necklace tutorial. I'm going to show you today how you can put those 3 components together if you already made those from the video that I shared last week and you'd like to put them together in the same way to make this necklace that you see here. Today we're going to continue to use the 15-0 round seed beads, the 2-hole tile beads, and the 3mm crystal bicones. And I have a size 11 beading needle with the 0.006 inch diameter or 6-pound Fireline that's already secured with my thread coming out of the last seed bead there on the right hand side of that section on the back of one of those components. So you can go ahead and get started by securing a new piece of thread, weaving it through your beads a little bit and coming out that same location. And that's where we'll pick up and start to put all these components together. So the component with my thread is down here in the middle, and what I've done, you may find this helpful, is I've just laid out my 3 components, sort of how they're going to be laid out on the necklace, but flipped upside down. And I'm going to show you how to do one side of the necklace today, and by doing that, you'll also be able to mirror it and do that on the other side to complete the rest of the necklace. You can just back up the video and follow those instructions again, pretty much, if you need to do that. And also, this is just one way you can do it. You can definitely get really creative and change the way in which you connect these and even use different beads if you'd like to. What we're going to do first is connect these 2 components by picking up 3 seed beads, a bicone, 3 seed beads. I'll go through a tile, 3 more seed beads, a bicone, and finally 3 more seed beads. And you can pull these down towards your beadwork. And what we've just added, it's going to be connecting these 2 parts of the components together at the corners. And that tile bead is also going to be connected to these sides of the corners of the components too. So it's going to end up sitting sort of in the middle. But right now what we can do is just go down the left-hand side of one of our strips of square stitch on the back of the next component. And pull that. Then pick up 3 15-0s and pull them down and go through that next strip of square stitch that you get to where we're going to be connecting these 2 sections and sew directly through those 9 seed beads, just like that. Now pick up 3 seed beads, a bicone, and 3 seed beads, and this is where we get to cross through that tile, and we're going to go through the next hole of that bead. So go through the open hole and just pull all this together nice and tight. And we'll finish off that section by picking up 3 seed beads, a bicone, and 3 seed beads. So those are going to sit like that, and we just need to go through our next section of beads down here, the strip of square stitch that's closest to us, and that first section we worked with. And you'll just go through all 9 of those seed beads, pull these together, and you can see that connects those first 2 components just like that. And what we want to do next is pick up 3 of our 15-0s right here, and we can go back up through that first strip of 9 seed beads where we started. And then you'll want to go through all of those beads again one more time if you're able to. You may want to switch to a size 12 needle if it starts to get a little bit tight in those 15-0 sections. But you definitely want to double reinforce that area since it's a connection point and you want it to be as strong as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and double mine up off camera, just going through the same thread path we just did, and return out the same area that I am now, and I'll be right back. All right, so now that side is secure, and what you can do if you'd like to is next go down the strip of 9 beads directly next to this, and then add your 3 15-ohs and go up through those 9 seed beads and connect those to this component just like we did before with the same beads used as a connection point. Following that up by going around it an extra time to make that extra secure. But since that's exactly the same process that you just saw before, I'm going to go ahead and move up to working on the area here that connects to the rest of the necklace chain. So you can go ahead and connect your next component if you'd like to. I'll go ahead and do that, and then you'll want to be exiting from one of these bicones on the side. Once I'm at that point, I'll meet you back and we can continue on with our necklace. And welcome back. So at this time, our 3 pieces are connected, and I'm coming out of this bicone that's on the left-hand side. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over, flip it over to the front. And this is where we're just going to be crossing through a few more of these tiles, adding in some more of our seed beads and bicones. So right now we'll pick up 3 seed beads, a bicone, and 3 more seed beads, and then sew through a new tile. You can pull those down. Then we'll pick up 3 seed beads, another bicone, 3 seed beads, and another tile. And we're going to do that one more time. So just repeat that sequence. And now we're going to pick up 3 of our seed beads and return back through the tile, going through that open hole. Then pick up 3 seed beads, and we're going to cross through the bicone. So just sew down that one only. Then pick up 3 more seed beads. And this time sew through the open hole of the next tile. And then repeat what we just did in these next 2 sections. So 3 more seed beads, and then we cross through the bicone. And make sure you're pulling this tight as you go. And now 3 seed beads, and we'll go through the open hole of the tile. Now we'll cross through this bicone. And here we'll pick up 3 of our 15-ohs, and this time we're going to go down through the bicone that's on the other side. And that's going to be our connection for the start of our chain. And this is where you'll also want to go through this section one more time completely. So we'll just follow the thread path to get to the beginning of that again. And I'm going to go just through that 15-oh, and my needle went through the Delica, so we'll just go with that. And I'll go through the next 15-oh on the other side. And return up through the bicone where we started, and that's where we can weave back through this section once again, following the exact same thread path that we did before. So once you've reinforced that again, make your way back up to the end of this section, and you can be coming out of that central 15-oh seed bead right in the middle of that section of 3. That's where we'll meet back and continue on with the next part of the chain. All right, so coming out of the central seed bead, we're gonna work on our next part of the chain, and this is where I just used up the rest of those bicones that I had. So what we can do is pick up 5 seed beads, then a bicone, and keep repeating that. So 5 more seed beads and a bicone. I'm gonna do this until I've added 6 bicones because I have about 6 that I can add to each side. So just keep repeating those 2. And then when you get to the end of that section, you can pick up 11 seed beads. So with those on, now you can return through the very last bicone. We're doing this in stages because I feel like it makes the chain stronger by not having one piece of thread going all the way up the entire length. So now going down towards the other end, we're going to pick up another 5 of our 15 O's, and we're going to sew back through the next bicone. And repeat that again. So again, pick up 5 15 O's and sew down through the next bicone. And we're at the last section. We'll pick up 5 more. And then this time we'll cross through that central seed bead where we started this part of the chain. The next thing I did in this area was I wanted to make the central seed beads stick out on either side of these seed bead sections to make them come to a little bit more of a point. You're more than welcome to leave this as it is, but I'm going to go up through the next 2 seed beads. Skip the third one and then go through the next 2. And then go directly over, going through the next 2 seed beads on this side, skipping the third one and going through the next 2 down this way. And when you pull that, you can see that these central seed beads stick out a little bit. And we're just going to return through the seed bead where we started, go back up through the next 2 over there. Again, skip that third one. And this time you can sew through the next 2 and also up through the next bicone bead. And you'll do the very same thing now in this section where you'll go up 2, skip the third one and go through the next 2. So over and down through your next 2 seed beads, right there. Skip the third one and sew through the next 2. Pull nice and tight and then return up through the seed beads on the other side. And we'll also go up through the next crystal bicone to continue that. My thread, however, is getting pretty short, so I am going to add on a new piece of thread. And we will pick back up after that second to last seed bead section is complete, just like we did the first two. So I'll meet you back right about at this point. All right, and for this very last section, that gets us started. At this point, we can continue up through the next two seed beads. Then we'll skip the next one and then sew through the next two. Get that one to pop out a little bit. Then skip the next one, sew through the next two, and pull. Then skip the next one, sew through the next two, just like that. And then you can just go through the other side. Again, I'm going up through the two, skipping the next one to keep that sticking out, and then sewing through this time the next three so that I'm coming out of the very end. And we'll continue our chain here by adding more segments just like this one until you have the final length of your necklace on this side complete. You may find that you need a few more seed beads than what was provided in the La Dolce Vita subscription box if you're going based on those materials, but you may have just enough. So to continue making these little diamonds the rest of the way, again, we'll pick up another section of seed beads, this time 11 of them. Then you can return through the 15-0 that we were just coming out of. And you'll go around these going through two seed beads, skipping the next one and sewing through the next two. And you can use your needle to help that seed bead stick out on the corner. Skip the next one and sew through the next two. And again. And I'm going to skip the one that's right here that we already crossed through. I'm going to go up through the other side. Skip the one on the corner and then sew up through these three. That gets us in place to continue on with that step and make more of the diamond shape. So just keep going in that manner to make this as long as you'd like to, and then you can back up the video and follow the same instructions to do the same thing on the other side. Once that's done, you can sew a clasp directly in, or you can attach one with jump rings like you can see here, just using those loops on either side as a connection point. So just keep going with those little diamonds and then end on both sides where you're happy with the length. Then you're all done and we can admire our work. And here's a look at today's necklace all finished and ready to wear. I want to thank you all so much for being here with me today. I'm always happy to have you joining me. As a reminder, you can find everything you need to make one of these necklaces at Beading School, and I will have all the links to the materials and everything listed right down below the video. And I'll also have the link to the Beading School Academy bi-monthly subscription box, which is what had inspired me to create this design in the first place. But that's all for now. Feel free to leave a comment below if you plan to make one of these, or if you have given it a try, I'd love to hear about it. Also, feel free to give the video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Click that share button down below to share it with your other beading friends. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel while you're here, because I'd love to have you back. That wraps it up for this time, but until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy beading!